2 months passed and life at the station fell into a rhythm. The sisters were still protective, but they learned to be less obvious about it. They no longer followed Jake like shadows. Instead, they took shifts and kept their distance. It was better, but still strange. The station workers slowly got used to having 3 Valorian warriors around. Some people were friendly. Others kept their distance. A few seemed nervous, like they expected the sisters to suddenly attack someone. Jake spent a lot of time teaching the sisters about human behavior. It was harder than he expected. Things that seemed natural to him were completely foreign to them. One afternoon, Jake was in the mess hall eating lunch with another engineer named Peter Grant. Peter was telling a joke about a broken mining drill. Jake laughed. Peter laughed. It was a normal, friendly conversation. Kira, who was on watch duty that day, suddenly appeared at the table. She put her hand on her hidden weapon. "Why are you laughing at Jake Morrison?" she demanded, glaring at Peter. Peter's face went pale. "I was just telling a joke." "It was funny. A joke?" Kira looked confused. She turned to Jake. "Is this human attacking you with words?" Jake sighed and rubbed his face. "No, Kira, a joke is something funny. We tell them to make each other laugh. It is a friendly thing. Peter is my friend." Kira looked between them, clearly not understanding. "You make sounds at each other to show friendship?" "Yes," Jake said. "Laughter means we are happy. It means we are enjoying each other's company." Kira nodded slowly, though she still looked suspicious. She walked away but kept watching them from across the room. Peter let out a long breath. "Man, that was scary. Does she think everyone is trying to kill you?" "Pretty much," Jake admitted. "Valorian culture is very different from ours. They are trained to see threats everywhere." Similar incidents happened with Zara and Mira. Zara once locked down an entire section of the station because she saw 2 workers arguing. She thought it was going to become a fight. Jake had to explain that humans argue sometimes, and it usually did not mean anything serious. Mira scared a woman named Lisa Park half to death by appearing silently behind her in a hallway. Mira was just checking that Jake was safe in the next room, but Lisa screamed and dropped her coffee. Jake realized he needed to do something different. The sisters were trying, but they needed more than just instructions. They needed to experience human life, so he started taking them to social events. The station had a movie night every week. Jake brought all 3 sisters to watch an old action film. They sat in the dark room watching humans on the screen fight and shoot weapons. "This is how you train your warriors?" Kira asked seriously. "No, it is just entertainment," Jake explained. "It is not real. It is actors pretending." "Why would you watch people pretend to fight?" Mira asked. "That seems pointless because it is fun," Jake said. "Not everything has to have a purpose. Sometimes we do things just because they make us feel good." The sisters watched the rest of the movie in silence. When it was over, Zara said, "The tactics were terrible. Those humans would have died in a real battle." Jake laughed. "You are probably right. But that is not the point." He took them to the station's small bar where workers gathered after their shifts. The sisters did not drink alcohol, but they watched people talk and laugh and tell stories. Slowly, they began to understand human social behavior better. Jake also learned about them. He discovered that Kira loved physical challenges. She started teaching combat classes in the gym, and soon had a dozen students. People who were afraid of her at first became her admirers. She was patient when teaching, even when students made mistakes. Zara loved solving problems. Jake gave her access to the station's security systems, and she found weaknesses no one had noticed. She improved the defenses without asking for permission, which made Captain Helen both annoyed and impressed. Mira was the biggest surprise. She discovered the station's hydroponics bay, where plants were grown for food. She spent hours there, carefully tending to tomatoes and lettuce. The person who ran the bay, an older man named George Carter, said Mira had a natural talent for it. "She is so gentle with the plants," George told Jake one day. "Hard to believe she is trained to be an assassin." "She is more than her training," Jake said. "They all are." But cultural differences still caused problems. One day Jake was talking with a female co-worker named Amy Stone. They were discussing a mining project, nothing personal. Amy laughed at something Jake said and briefly touched his arm. That evening, Mira came to Jake's quarters looking worried. "I must tell you something important. The female human named Amy Stone is showing interest in you." Jake blinked. "What? No, she is just friendly." "She touched you," Mira said seriously. Among Valorian, touching is a sign of intimate interest. You must decide if you will accept her courtship. We were just talking, Jake explained. Humans touch each other casually sometimes. It does not always mean romance. Amy has a boyfriend. She was just being friendly. Mira looked confused. Human courtship rituals are very strange. Tell me about it, Jake muttered. Another time, Kira got into a confrontation with a worker named Carl Murphy. Carl was known for being rude and difficult. He made a disrespectful comment about Jake when Kira was nearby. Kira challenged him to single combat right there in the hallway. She said it was the only way to settle the insult. Carl, who was smart enough to be terrified, ran to find Captain Helen. Jake had to spend an hour explaining to Kira that humans did not solve disputes with combat. They used words or sometimes complaints to supervisors. But he insulted you, Kira protested. Your honor demands satisfaction. My honor is fine, Jake said. Carl is just a jerk. Everyone knows it. I do not care what he thinks. You do not care about honor? Kira looked shocked. I care about honor, Jake said, but not the same way you do. To me, honor means being honest and kind. It means helping people. It does not mean fighting everyone who says something mean. Kira thought about this for a long time. Your definition is softer than ours, but maybe not weaker. The breakthrough came 3 months after the sisters arrived. Jake was working late in his office reviewing reports. He was tired and frustrated. The mining equipment kept breaking down and his supervisor wanted results faster than was possible. Zara found him there, staring at his computer with his head in his hands. She sat down across from him. You are troubled. Just work stress, Jake said. Nothing important. If it troubles you, it is important, Zara said. She looked at his screen. You are trying to increase efficiency by 15%. But the equipment is old. It cannot handle more stress. I know, Jake said, but my supervisor does not care. He just wants numbers to look good. Zara was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Among Valorian we have a saying. A warrior who pushes too hard breaks her weapon. A wise warrior maintains her weapon and strikes at the right moment. Jake looked up at her. That is actually good advice. Perhaps you need to educate your supervisor, Zara suggested. Show him why patience will bring better results than haste. They spent the next hour working together. Zara helped Jake prepare a detailed report showing why pushing the equipment too hard would lead to expensive breakdowns. She had a talent for presenting information clearly and logically. When they finished, Jake leaned back in his chair. Thank you. You did not have to help with this. You are part of our family now, Zara said simply. Family helps each other. That is true in any culture. Jake felt something warm in his chest. These alien warriors who had been assigned to protect him were becoming real friends. Maybe even family, like Zara said. A few days later, Jake was walking through a maintenance tunnel. He heard a soft sound and looked up. Mira was sitting on a high pipe, almost invisible in the shadows. She dropped down silently beside him. Do you ever miss your home? She asked quietly. Sometimes, Jake admitted. Do you? Every day, Mira said. But I am starting to feel at home here too. Is that strange? No, Jake said. Home is not just a place. It is where you belong, where you are accepted. Mira smiled, a rare and genuine expression. Then perhaps this is becoming home. That evening, Jake gathered all 3 sisters in his quarters. Captain Helen had finally approved bigger living space for them. They would be moving to new quarters the next day. I want to say something, Jake began. When you first came here, I did not want you. I thought the whole thing was a mistake. But I was wrong. You 3 have made my life better. You have taught me about honor and duty and loyalty. You have become my friends, Kira stood up. You have taught us as well. You have shown us that strength is not just about fighting. That protection is not just about preventing death. You have given us purpose and belonging. To new beginnings, Zara said, raising her water cup. To family, Mira added. To whatever comes next, Jake said, clinking his cup against theirs. Outside the window, the twin suns were setting over the red landscape. Inside, 4 people from 2 different worlds were learning that the things that connected them were stronger than the things that divided them. But neither Jake nor the sisters knew that their new family was about to face its greatest test. Danger was coming to the mining station, and soon they would need every bit of trust and understanding they had built together. The warning came on a quiet Tuesday morning. Jake was eating breakfast in the mess hall when Captain Helen's voice came over the station speakers. "Jake Morrison, report to my office immediately." Kira, Zara, and Mira were at his side instantly. They had been sitting at different tables trying to give him space. But the moment they heard the captain's serious tone, their training took over. "Something is wrong," Zara said quietly. "The captain sounds concerned." They walked together to Helen's office. The captain was standing at her desk, looking at a message on her screen. Her face was tight with worry. "Sit down, Jake," Helen said. Then she looked at the sisters. "You three should hear this too." She pressed a button and a message appeared on the wall screen. It was from Valorian High Command, written in both Valorian and human languages. "The Kryn Syndicate has identified Jake Morrison as a target," Helen read aloud. "They are seeking revenge for Matriarch Lyra's survival. Intelligence suggests they are planning an attack on his location within the next 2 weeks." Jake felt his stomach twist. "Who are the Kryn?" Kira's face had gone hard as stone. "They are the raiders who attacked our mother. They are criminals and murderers. They work for anyone who pays them." "Why would they care about me?" Jake asked. "I just rescued Lyra. I did not do anything to them." Zara moved to the screen, studying the message carefully. "The Kryn have a reputation to maintain. If people know their targets can escape, their value as raiders decreases. They hunt down survivors and anyone who helps survivors. It sends a message that no one can escape them." "That is insane," Jake said, his voice rising. "That is effective," Mira corrected quietly. "Fear is a powerful weapon." Captain Helen crossed her arms. "I am putting the station on alert. We will increase security and prepare defenses. But Jake, I have to tell you, this station was not designed for military operations. If the Kryn come with a serious force, we are in trouble." "Then we should evacuate Jake Morrison," Kira said firmly. "Get him off the station and to a safer location." "No," Jake said. Everyone looked at him. "If I run, they will just follow me. And other people might get hurt along the way. At least here we can prepare. We know this station better than they do." Zara nodded slowly. "He is right. This is defensible ground. We know every corridor, every system. That gives us an advantage. Plus," Jake added, "you three are here. If there's going to be a fight, I want the best warriors I know on my side." Mira actually smiled at that.
"Flattery will not save you."
"But it is appreciated." Over the next 3 days, the station transformed. Helen ordered all non-essential personnel to prepare for evacuation if needed. The remaining crew worked to strengthen defenses. Blast doors that had not been closed in years were tested and repaired. Security systems were upgraded. Supplies were stockpiled. The sisters worked almost without sleep. Kira trained station personnel in basic combat. Most of the workers had never held a weapon, but Kira taught them how to defend themselves if needed. She was patient but demanding, pushing people harder than they thought possible. Zara analyzed every possible way the Kryn could attack. She studied the station's layout, looking for weaknesses. Then she created traps and surprises in key locations. She used mining equipment as improvised weapons, setting up systems that could drop heavy cargo or seal corridors quickly. Mira disappeared for hours at a time, exploring every maintenance tunnel and ventilation shaft. She memorized paths that did not appear on any station map. She was planning escape routes and ambush points, places where a small fighter could take down larger enemies. Jake helped however he could. He knew the station's engineering systems better than anyone. He showed the sisters how to control power, life support, and gravity in different sections. He explained which areas were structurally weak and which were strong. On the 4th night, Jake could not sleep. He walked to the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Kira found him there. "You should rest," she said. "The attack will come soon." "I know," Jake said. "I just keep thinking all of this is happening because I helped your mother. If I had just left her in that wreckage, none of this would be happening." Kira was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "If you had left our mother to die, you would not be the man we have come to respect. You would not be someone worth protecting." "I am just an engineer," Jake said. "I am not a warrior like you." "No," Kira agreed. "You are something better. You are someone who does the right thing even when it is difficult. That takes a different kind of courage." Before Jake could respond, alarms started blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed. Helen's voice came over the speakers, tight and controlled. "All personnel to defensive positions. We have incoming hostile ship." "This is not a drill." Kira grabbed Jake's arm. Move now! They ran through the corridors. Station workers were rushing to their assigned positions. Some looked scared. Others looked determined. Jake felt his heart pounding so hard he thought it might break through his chest. Zara met them at a junction point. 30 raiders, maybe more. They came in fast and disabled our communication array in the first attack. We cannot call for help. The command center? Jake asked. Already compromised, Zara said grimly. Captain Helen and her team are trapped there. The raiders went for leadership first. Professional tactics. Mira appeared from a side passage, seeming to materialize from the shadows. They are searching section by section, moving toward residential areas. They are looking for Jake. Then we lead them away, Jake said, surprised by how steady his voice sounded. Away from the other people. Into areas where you can fight on your terms. Kira smiled, a fierce expression. Now you are thinking like a warrior. They moved through the station like ghosts, always staying ahead of the raiders. Jake guided them through maintenance passages and service tunnels. The sisters used their training to leave false trails and confuse the enemy. But the raiders were good. They split into teams, covering more ground. They had weapons that cut through doors and sensors that tracked heat signatures. Slowly, they were closing in. The first real fight happened in a storage bay. 6 raiders cornered them near containers of mining supplies. The raiders raised their weapons, confident in their numbers. They had never fought a Valorian warrior before. Kira moved like lightning. She covered the distance between them before the raiders could fire. Her strikes were precise and devastating. 2 raiders went down in seconds. A third tried to shoot her, but Kira used his partner as a shield, then disarmed him with a move so fast Jake barely saw it. Zara had positioned herself behind a container. She had somehow acquired a station security weapon. Her shots were careful and accurate. Each one hit exactly where she aimed. Raiders who tried to flank them found themselves facing a shooter who never missed. Mira was terrifying. She moved through the shadows like a ghost. Raiders would be standing one moment and unconscious the next, never seeing what hit them. She used the environment as a weapon, dropping cargo on enemies, tripping them with cables, attacking from angles they did not expect. Jake was not useless either. He knew which containers held flammable materials and which held inert substances. He used his engineering knowledge to create obstacles, to flood areas with steam, to shut down lights at critical moments. But there were too many raiders, and they kept coming. The running battle lasted for hours. The sisters protected Jake while eliminating enemies one by one. They moved through the station using every advantage they could find. But they were getting tired, and the raiders were getting closer to trapping them. Finally, they were cornered in the main mining bay. It was a huge open space filled with equipment and raw materials. Catwalks crisscrossed overhead. The sisters had chosen this location deliberately. It was their final defensive position. 30 raiders entered the bay, weapons ready. Their leader, a tall alien with scarred skin and too many eyes, stepped forward. His translator made his words sound cold and mechanical. The human who saved matriarch Lyra, the leader said. Our employers pay very well for your death. Nothing personal. Just business. Jake tried to keep his voice from shaking. Seems pretty personal from where I am standing. The leader laughed. Brave words for a dead man. And you 3? He said, looking at the sisters. Warriors? Against 30? Foolish. Who said anything about 3? Mira's voice came from somewhere above them. Suddenly the mining bay erupted into chaos. Cargo containers began moving, controlled by the bay's automated systems that Zara had reprogrammed. Heavy equipment activated, its mechanical arms swinging with deadly force. Emergency containment fields flickered into existence, separating groups of raiders from each other, and 3 Valorian warriors attacked. Kira met the raiders head-on. Her fighting style beautiful and terrible, Zara had positioned weapons throughout the bay, moving from one to another, creating crossfire that the raiders could not escape. Mira appeared and disappeared like a nightmare, taking down enemies who never saw her coming. Jake controlled the bay's systems from a protected console. He opened cargo doors to create sudden pressure changes. He manipulated gravity in sections, making raiders stumble. He used every trick he knew to give the sisters an advantage. The battle was fierce and brutal. The raiders were professionals, but they had never faced warriors like the Valorian sisters. One by one they fell. The days after the attack were busy and complicated. Station security locked up the captured raiders. Medical teams treated the wounded. both station personnel and raiders. Engineers like Jake worked to repair the damage to the station. It would take weeks to fix everything. Investigators came from the human government and from Valorian space. They wanted to know exactly what happened. Jake had to tell his story over and over. The sisters were questioned for hours about their actions during the fight. The Kryn Syndicate leadership sent a formal message. They declared that Jake Morrison was no longer a target. The attack had failed, and continuing to pursue him would cost more than it was worth. In the criminal underworld, apparently, knowing when to stop was important. Captain Helen sat across from Jake in her rebuilt office 2 weeks after the attack. Her arm was still in a bandage from where she had been injured when the raiders breached the command center. "So," Helen said with a slight smile, "I need to write a report about how 3 alien warriors saved my entire station. Any idea how I explain that to headquarters?" "Tell them the truth," Jake suggested. "That they are not just warriors. They are good people who protect those they care about." Helen nodded. "The Valorian government is officially thanking us, by the way. Matriarch Lyra apparently has a lot of political influence back on her homeworld. She is very proud of what her daughters did." "She should be," Jake said. "They were amazing." "She is also asking permission to visit," Helen added. "I approved it. She will be here next week." Jake felt nervous about that. What would Lyra think about everything that had happened? Would she blame him for putting her daughters in danger? When Lyra's ship arrived, Jake went to the docking bay with the sisters. They were clearly excited, though they tried to hide it. As soon as the airlock opened and Lyra stepped through, all 3 daughters rushed to her. The reunion was beautiful to watch. Lyra hugged each daughter tightly, speaking rapidly in their native language. She touched their faces, checking them for injuries. She was crying, which Jake had not known Valorian could do. The tears on her blue-silver skin caught the light like diamonds. Then Lyra turned to Jake. She walked over and embraced him, which surprised him. "You protected my children," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You fought beside them. You risked your life for them." "They risked their lives for me first," Jake said. "Many times." Lyra pulled back and looked at him seriously. "The debt I owed you has become something different. Something deeper. Among Valorian, when people fight together and protect each other, they become family. Not by blood, but by choice." Jake looked at the 3 sisters. Kira stood tall and proud. Zara watched with her analytical eyes. Mira smiled softly. These alien warriors who had been assigned to protect him had become the most important people in his life. "I would be honored to be family," Jake said quietly. Over the next few days, Lyra stayed at the station. She watched how her daughters had adapted to human life. She saw Kira teaching combat classes to eager students. She observed Zara working in the security office, improving systems with her strategic mind. She found Mira in the hydroponics bay, carefully tending to plants with surprising gentleness. One evening, Lyra invited Jake to dinner in the guest quarters. The sisters were there too. It felt like a real family gathering. "I need to tell you something important," Lyra began. "By Valorian law, my daughters have fulfilled their obligation. The debt of honor is paid. I am offering them a choice now. They can return home with me, or they can stay here with you." Jake's heart suddenly felt heavy. He had not thought about the possibility of them leaving. "What do you want to do?" he asked the sisters. Mira spoke first, which was unusual for her. "We want to stay, if you will have us." "Not because of duty," Zara added. "Not because of obligation. Because this has become our home," Kira nodded. "You have taught us that protection is not just about preventing death. It is about helping someone live a full life, about being there in good times and bad. We want to continue that." Jake felt his eyes getting wet. "You know you do not have to protect me anymore, right?" "You can stay just as friends, just as family." "We know," Kira said, "but protecting you has become more than a job. It is how we show we care." Lyra smiled with obvious approval. "Then it is settled. My daughters will remain with you, Jake Morrison, but not as servants or guards. As your family." There was a Valorian word she used then. Jake's translator struggled with it. The closest translation was something like battle family or chosen kin. It was a concept that meant people who fought together and chose to stay together, bound by loyalty and affection rather than blood. Life at the station settled into a new normal after Lyra left. The sisters continued their work and their duties, but the relationship had changed. They were less formal now, more relaxed. They joked with Jake and teased each other. They had their own friends among the station personnel. Kira's combat classes became hugely popular. She had to limit class sizes because so many people wanted to learn from her. She discovered she enjoyed teaching, helping others become stronger and more confident. Zara became the station's official security chief after the previous chief retired. Captain Helen said it was the easiest hiring decision she had ever made. Zara took the job seriously, constantly improving the station's defenses. But she also learned to relax sometimes, even joining other off-duty personnel for game nights. Mira spent more and more time in hydroponics. George Carter, the older man who ran the bay, taught her about different plants and growing techniques. She had a natural talent for it. Under her care, the plants flourished. She told Jake that she liked the peace of it, the way plants grew quietly without violence or conflict. Jake returned to his engineering work, but now with 3 people who were always interested in what he was doing. Kira would stop by to ask how the equipment worked. Zara would offer suggestions for improving efficiency. Mira would bring him lunch and sit quietly while he worked, a comfortable presence. One evening, 6 months after the raid, Jake was in his quarters reading when someone knocked. All 3 sisters came in together, which was unusual. They looked nervous. Is something wrong? Jake asked, immediately worried. No, Kira said. We want to talk to you about something important. They sat down and Zara began. We have been thinking about the future. Our mother visits often now. She has suggested we might want to return home eventually, to find mates and start our own families. Jake felt his chest tighten. Oh, I see. When are you leaving? We are not, Mira said quickly. That is what we want to talk about. We have decided that this is our home now. Here, with you. Among Valorian, Kira explained. Daughters traditionally leave their mothers to start their own households. We have done that. This is our household now. But what about your future? Jake asked. What about having families of your own? Zara smiled. We have a family, this one. Not everyone needs to follow the traditional path. We have found something that makes us happy. That is enough. Are you sure? Jake asked. I do not want you to give up your dreams for me. Our dreams have changed, Mira said softly. When we first came here, we dreamed of glory and honor. Now we dream of simpler things, teaching, protecting, growing plants, living in peace with people we care about. Jake looked at each of them. These 3 warriors who had been given to him as a debt payment had become the center of his world. He could not imagine his life without them now. I am glad you are staying, he said, his voice rough with emotion. I cannot imagine this place without you. Good, Kira said. Because we are not going anywhere. Time passed. Seasons changed on the station. Not real seasons, but the rhythms of work and rest. Lyra visited every few months, always bringing gifts and stories from the Valorian homeworld. Other Valorians started visiting too, curious about the humans and the unusual household where 3 warrior daughters lived. Some humans and Valorian found it strange. This family that was not related by blood, but to those who knew them it made perfect sense. They had chosen each other. They had fought for each other. They had learned to understand and accept each other. 1 year after the raid, on the anniversary of the attack, Jake organized a memorial service. It was for the station workers who had been hurt defending their home. It was also a celebration of survival and community. The whole station gathered in the main hall. Captain Helen gave a speech. Several workers told their stories of that difficult day. Then Jake stood up to speak. A year ago, he began, this station was attacked because I did something simple. I helped a stranger who needed help. That simple act brought danger to all of you, and I am sorry for that. But that simple act also brought us something precious. It brought us friends from another world. It showed us that differences do not have to divide us. It taught us that family is not just about where you come from, but about who you choose to stand beside. He looked at the 3 sisters, standing together in the crowd. Kira, Zara, and Mira came here as warriors assigned to protect me. They stayed as family by choice. They defend this station. They teach us. They work alongside us. They have become part of our community. The raiders wanted to punish me for saving a life. Instead, they showed us all how strong we can be when we work together. How powerful compassion can be. How family can form in the most unexpected ways. 3 months felt like 3 years. Jake tried to contact Lyra many times. He sent messages through every communication channel he could find. He wanted to politely tell her that he could not accept her daughters. The whole idea felt wrong. People should not be given away no matter what the custom was. None of his messages got replies. Lyra seemed to be ignoring him. Jake worried and waited, hoping she would change her mind. But deep down, he knew she would not. Then one morning, the station's alarm beeped. A ship was approaching. Not a human ship. Jake's heart started beating fast. He knew what this meant. Captain Helen Foster called him to the command center. She was trying not to laugh. "Morrison, you have visitors. They say they are here for you. What exactly did you do out there?" Jake walked to the command center window. A beautiful alien ship hung in space above the station. It was elegant and dangerous looking, all smooth metal and sharp edges. As he watched, a smaller shuttle separated from the main ship and flew toward the station. "They are docking now," Helen said. "Want to tell me what is going on?" "It is a long story," Jake muttered. "A very strange, long story." The shuttle docked with a soft thud. Jake walked to the airlock, his legs feeling heavy. The door opened with a hiss. Matriarch Lyra stepped out first, looking healthy and strong. Behind her came 3 younger Valorian women. Jake stopped breathing for a moment. These were warriors. Anyone could see it. They moved with confidence and power. Their eyes scanned everything, looking for threats. Each one carried herself like a trained fighter. The first daughter was the tallest. She had muscles that showed even through her clothes. Scars marked her arms in patterns that looked ceremonial. She stood straight and proud, her face serious. The second daughter was thinner but moved with careful precision. Every step was calculated. Her eyes never stopped moving, watching everything and everyone. She looked like she was planning something all the time. The third daughter was the smallest, but there was something intense about her. She barely made a sound when she moved. Her eyes were sharp and focused. Jake felt like she could disappear into shadows if she wanted to. "Jake Morrison," Lyra announced in a loud voice. "These are my daughters. Kira is my eldest. She is a master of close combat and tactical warfare. Zara is my second daughter. She is expert in weapons and strategy. Mira is my youngest. She is trained in stealth and infiltration." The 3 daughters stepped forward together. Then they knelt down in front of Jake, their heads bowed. Jake felt his face turn red. Other station workers were watching. Some were trying not to laugh. "We are yours to command," Kira said. Her voice was deep and strong. "Our mother has given us the greatest honor. We will protect you. We will serve you. We will die for you if we must." Jake looked at Captain Helen helplessly. She was definitely laughing now, though she was trying to hide it. He turned back to Lyra. "Matriarch Lyra, I really appreciate this. But I cannot accept. I am just an engineer. I do not need warriors or bodyguards." Lyra's face became hard. To refuse would be a terrible insult. Not just to me, but to my daughters. They have trained their whole lives for this. Among Valorian, being chosen as an honor guard is the greatest achievement. You would shame them by refusing. Kira looked up at Jake. Her glowing eyes met his. "Please," she said quietly. "Let us prove we are worthy." Jake felt trapped. How could he say no to that? He looked at the 3 sisters kneeling before him. They were not asking to own him or control him. They were asking for a chance to honor their mother's debt. In their culture, this was important. He sighed deeply. "All right, but we need to talk about what this means, because in my culture, no one belongs to anyone else. Everyone is free." Mira smiled for the first time. It made her look less dangerous. "We are not property, Jake Morrison. We are Valorian warriors. We choose to honor our mother's debt." "There is a difference." Zara stood up smoothly. "We understand human culture is different. We will adapt, but we will not abandon our duty." Captain Helen stepped forward. "Well, this is going to be interesting. Morrison, you will need to figure out housing, and your new friends will need station jobs. We do not allow anyone to just sit around here." Lyra smiled with satisfaction. "My daughters are capable of many tasks. They will be useful to your station, I promise." She turned to Jake. "I must return home now, but I will visit often. Take care of my children, Jake Morrison, and let them take care of you." She hugged each of her daughters. They spoke quickly in their own language. Then Lyra walked back to her shuttle. The airlock closed. The shuttle flew away, and Jake was left with 3 alien warrior women who had just become his responsibility. "So," Kira said, standing up, "show us where we will live." Jake's quarters were small. They were designed for 1 person, maybe 2 at most. Now there were 4 people trying to fit inside. The sisters looked around at the tiny space with what might have been disappointment, though their faces did not show much emotion. "This is all the space I have," Jake said apologetically. "I did not exactly plan for this." "It is acceptable," Zara said, though her tone suggested it was not very acceptable. "We will make it work." The first night was awkward. The sisters insisted on sleeping in shifts. One of them was always awake, watching the door. Jake tried to tell them the station was safe, but they did not listen. To them, there were threats everywhere. The next morning, Jake woke up to find Mira standing next to his bed, staring at him. He jumped up with a yell. "What are you doing?" "Watching for threats," Mira said calmly. "You were vulnerable while sleeping." "I was sleeping in a locked room on a secure station," Jake said, trying to slow his heartbeat. "There are no threats here." "Every environment has threats," Mira replied. "A true warrior never relaxes." Jake realized this was going to be harder than he thought. The sisters followed him everywhere. When he went to breakfast, all three walked behind him like a military escort. When he worked at his computer, they stood around him, watching everyone who came near. When he went to the bathroom, they waited outside the door. The other station workers found it hilarious. People started making jokes. "Hey, Morrison, going to introduce us to your bodyguards?" "Careful, Jake, I think the tall one is glaring at me." "What did you do to need 3 alien warriors protecting you?" After 3 days of this, Jake had enough. He gathered the sisters in his quarters. "We need to talk about boundaries." Kira crossed her forearms. 2 were healed now, though they still looked stiff. "What are boundaries?" "Rules about personal space," Jake explained. "About privacy. About giving people room to breathe. You cannot follow me everywhere. You cannot watch me sleep. You cannot treat everyone here like an enemy." Zara looked confused. "But protecting you is our duty. How can we protect you if we are not near you?" "I do not need protection every second of every day," Jake said, frustration creeping into his voice. "This is a mining station. The most dangerous thing here is the coffee, and that is only dangerous to my stomach." Mira tilted her head. "Our mother nearly died because she underestimated danger. We will not make the same mistake." Jake took a deep breath. He needed to try a different approach. "Okay, look, I understand you want to do your duty. I respect that. But I need you to understand something about humans. We value freedom and privacy. We need space to be ourselves. If you smother me with protection, you will make me unhappy. Is that what you want?" The 3 sisters looked at each other. They seemed to have a silent conversation. Finally, Kira spoke. "No, we do not want to make you unhappy. But we do not know how to protect someone who does not want protection. You must teach us." "All right," Jake said, feeling relieved. "Here is what we will do. You can take turns watching over me during work hours. 1 of you at a time. When I am in my quarters, you give me privacy unless there is a real emergency, and you need to stop treating my coworkers like assassins." "Deal?" Zara nodded slowly. "We can try this approach." Over the next few weeks, things slowly improved. The sisters learned to blend in better. They started wearing human clothes, though Jake noticed they always had weapons hidden somewhere. They took jobs around the station, and their incredible strength made them valuable workers. Jake discovered that each sister had her own personality. Kira was direct and honest, sometimes too honest. Zara was thoughtful and liked to plan everything. Mira was quiet but observant, noticing things others missed. One evening, Jake found Kira in the station gym. She was lifting weights that would normally require a machine to move. He sat down nearby. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course," Kira said, not stopping her workout. "Why did you really want to come here? Was it just duty to your mother?" Kira set down the weights. She sat next to Jake. "It is hard to explain. On our world, daughters live in their mother's shadow. We train and fight, but we are always just someone's daughter. When Mother offered us this honor, it was a chance to be something more. To prove ourselves. To create our own story," Jake nodded. He was starting to understand. This was not just about protecting him. It was about the sisters finding their own purpose. "Then let us create a good story together," Jake said. Jake Morrison stared at his computer screen and yawned. Another boring day at the mining station on planet Kepler 442b. He had been working here for 6 months now, watching machines dig up minerals from the red dirt. The job paid well, but it was lonely. The station only had 20 people, and most of them kept to themselves. He stood up and walked to the window. 2 suns hung in the orange sky. casting long shadows across the rocky landscape. Nothing ever happened here. That was supposed to be a good thing. Mining stations were meant to be quiet and safe. Then his computer beeped loudly. Jake rushed back to his desk. The screen showed a red warning. A ship was falling from the sky. It was not a human ship. The design was strange, with curves and angles that looked alien. Smoke poured from its engines as it dropped toward the ground. Jake watched the ship crash behind a hill about 5 kilometers away. He did not think. He just grabbed his emergency kit and ran to the garage. The other workers would take hours to organize a rescue team. By then, whoever was in that ship might be dead. He jumped into a mining transport, a big vehicle with thick wheels and powerful engines. The machine roared to life, and Jake drove toward the crash site as fast as he could. The transport bounced over rocks and through shallow valleys. His hands gripped the steering wheel tight. When he reached the crash site, Jake felt his stomach drop. The alien ship had broken into pieces. Metal was scattered everywhere, still smoking and hot. He grabbed his scanner and turned it on. The device beeped. Someone was alive in there. Jake climbed over twisted metal and broken equipment. His boots crunched on glass and debris. The scanner led him to a large piece of the ship's hull. Something was trapped underneath. He found her pinned under a heavy metal beam. She was alien but beautiful in a strange way. Her skin was blue and silver, shimmering like fish scales. She had 4 arms, though 2 looked badly broken. Her eyes were huge and glowing, filled with pain. She was trying to say something, but Jake could not understand the words. Jake ran back to his transport and used its mechanical arms to lift the beam. The metal groaned and slowly rose. The alien woman gasped and pulled herself free. She grabbed Jake's arm with her good hands. Her grip was surprisingly strong. His translator device finally clicked on. It had been analyzing her language. Now her words came through clearly. "My daughters," she said, her voice weak. "Please find my daughters." Jake searched the wreckage for over an hour. He checked every piece of debris, every corner of the broken ship. His scanner showed only one life sign. There were no daughters here. When he came back to tell her, tears ran down her strange, beautiful face. "They are safe at home," she said quietly. "I was traveling alone. I thought I said goodbye to them forever." Jake helped her stand. She was tall, nearly 7 feet, but thin and hurt badly. He supported her weight as they walked slowly to his transport. "Let me get you back to the station," he said. "We have a medical bay. It can help you." The woman nodded. As Jake drove back, she spoke softly. "My name is Lyra. I am a matriarch of the Valorian people. I was attacked by raiders. They damaged my ship. I thought I would die here, alone and far from my home." "Well, you are not alone now," Jake said. "And you are not going to die. Not if I can help it." At the station, Jake carried Lyra to the medical bay. The computer system scanned her body and began treatment. It injected medicines, set her broken arms, and bandaged her wounds. Jake stayed with her the whole time. Over the next 3 weeks, Lyra healed. The medical bay worked slowly but well. During this time, Jake visited her every day. They talked about many things. Lyra told him about her home planet, about Valorian culture and traditions. "We value honor above all else," she explained one day. "Warriors are respected. Family bonds are sacred. When someone saves your life, that creates a debt that must be repaid." "You do not owe me anything," Jake said. "I just did what anyone would do." Lyra looked at him with her glowing eyes. "No, not anyone. You risked your life for a stranger. A stranger from another world. That is rare and precious." Jake learned that Valorian society was organized around mothers. Matriarchs like Lyra held great power. Their daughters were trained from birth to be warriors, to fight and protect. It was a culture built on strength and loyalty. "I have 3 daughters," Lyra said with pride in her voice. "Kira is the oldest. She is strong and brave. Zara is my middle child, smart and careful. Mira is the youngest, quick and clever. They are the joy of my life." "You must miss them," Jake said. "Every moment," Lyra admitted. "But soon I will see them again. My people know I am here. A ship will come for me." The weeks passed quickly. Jake enjoyed talking with Lyra. She was intelligent and kind. She asked him questions about humans, about Earth, about his life. He told her about growing up in a small town, about studying engineering, about choosing to work in space because he wanted adventure. "You found more adventure than you expected," Lyra said with a smile. Finally, the day came when Lyra was well enough to leave. A Valorian medical ship arrived to take her home. Jake helped her to the docking bay. He felt sad to see her go. She had become a friend. Lyra stood in front of Jake in the docking bay. The other station workers watched from a distance. She spoke in a formal voice, loud and clear. "Jake Morrison, you saved my life when you had no reason to. You cared for me when I was injured. You asked for nothing in return. By Valorian law and custom, I owe you a debt of honor." "Really, you do not owe me anything," Jake said, feeling embarrassed. "I have little wealth," Lyra continued, ignoring his protest. "But I have something more valuable. I have 3 daughters trained in the warrior arts. Each one is skilled in combat and protection. I am giving them to you. They will be your honor guard, your protectors for life. It is the greatest gift a Valorian mother can give." Jake stared at her. His translator must be broken. "I am sorry, what did you say?" "My daughters will come to serve you," Lyra said calmly. "They will protect you from all harm. They will be loyal to you until death." "It is decided. But I cannot accept people as a gift," Jake said, his voice rising. "That is not how humans do things," Lyra smiled. "They are not a gift. They are an honor. Among my people, to be chosen for an honor guard is the highest achievement. My daughters will be proud to serve you." "But," Jake started to protest, Lyra raised a hand. "It is done. They will arrive in 3 months. Prepare yourself, Jake Morrison. Your life is about to change." She turned and walked onto her ship. The airlock closed behind her. Jake stood alone in the docking bay, wondering what he had just agreed to. Or rather, what had just been decided for him. 3 alien warrior daughters were coming to protect him. A simple mining engineer who just wanted a quiet life. He had a feeling that quiet life was over,